just talking about Jordan and, his success and things of that nature, a lot of people, that's what they associate him with, right? You always hear the six championships
Mm.
and the scoring titles and defensive player of the year, the MVPs and all that stuff. But a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with, the early challenges that he had. And even to, the kids that I teach and everything like that, they say Michael Jordan, but it's like, do you really know, the story and what he had to go through to get to that level of success? And, if you could, Clint, just kind of educate the people a little bit as far as the early challenges that Jordan had to go through, in the early part of his career.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, when people usually mention Jordan, they talk about, like you said, the championships and the success and the mindsets and stuff like that. But he actually had to face some adversity early, like you said, going to high school. As a sophomore, he ended up actually being cut from the varsity team. And as an athlete, nobody ever wants to be cut from a sport that they truly love, that they probably spent hours on hours on hours on working on. And usually the natural response to, getting cut is like, oh yeah, man, my season is over. I'm gonna just, give up. I'll probably try next year, probably, do some things. But one thing that I respected about Jordan the most was his mindset. Instead of allowing that adversity to stop him or to be a setback, he actually used that for fuel and used that to motivate his hunger for the game, his work ethic, and why we're able to see the success and the chip, I guess you could say, on his shoulder just from going through that adversity. Because I feel like at times when we go through that adversity, it's such a harsh feeling on you that you don't want to feel that feeling anymore. So you get to a point where you're like, you know what? You just make up your mind, and that's where that mindset and that chip comes from, where you be like, yeah, I don't want to feel this feeling again. So just you know honing in on that and to continue to grow from that situation.
For sure. That's good, man. When you said Chip, it kind of made me smile because it made me think of his what is the thing called? It made me think of his documentary, The
Hmm.
Last Dance,
Yeah,
and how when you said Chip, it made me think of the fact that he was like, and I took that personal,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I can see, even you just explaining it that way,
Mm.
if I were to be cut,
Yeah,
thank God I didn't get cut from my high school team, but obviously I'm not, the skill level of Jordan, but I can see him probably taking it personal to this day, where he's like, man, I still can't believe they cut me.
yeah,
Obviously six
exactly.
championships later and all the different accolades and stuff like that. But that's exactly again the definition, the personification of resilience and perseverance. He definitely went in. And I can even think about, like I said, I didn't get cut from my high school team, but I remember making varsity as a freshman,
Hmm.
right? So a lot of freshmen didn't get a chance to play varsity. I was one of those blessed few to be able to do that, and I think you can agree with this. When you play basketball or you play on any type of team, you feel like you can play,
Yeah,
right? You feel like I can contribute.
yeah, yeah.
I have a skill set and I deserve some time and things of that nature. And if I'm being honest with myself, looking back now, I had no business being on the court. But what I will say, to your point, my freshman year, even though I didn't play much, I learned so much because I got to play against older guys, faster guys, stronger guys. I got to play against people who their skill level was a little bit higher than mine. And I learned so much where I might not have learned those lessons playing JV, dominating, and just kind
Mm.
of being the man,
Yeah.
where I had to it kind of knocked not my confidence, but it knocked my pride a little bit down a
Mm.
level and said, hey, be humble, wait your time, and then to be able to have the success that I had later in future years. That's something that I definitely I appreciate now. I didn't appreciate it then, but I definitely appreciate it now. And even as a coach, right? So I've coached AAU, coached middle school basketball, and that's something that. Um, I proudly tell parents, like, hey, look, just because you see me as a coach,
Yeah.
it wasn't always easy for me to
Mm.
perform either. I was that guy on the end of the bench. I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So don't take it as, oh, I'm trying to make you feel bad. Humble
No.
yourself, put in the work.
Exactly, exactly. And I feel like having that type of understanding, having that, being in that same situation as a person, for me, I worked a summer camp this summer, so I was able to experience different age groups. I experienced middle school kids, experience kids going from elementary school to middle school. So I seen so many different personalities, so many different, like you said, pride levels, and sometimes things won't go their way. And at first I'll be ready, like, hey man, like why you doing that? Why you doing this? But I'm like, gotta come back and understand that they're, still developing. They're still seeing things, and I have probably seen some things that they haven't. So that's why it's my best of knowledge to, spread to them the knowledge that I know, so that they can be able to, use that for their future kids and then their future kids. So then that wisdom just continues to flow. But just having that state of understanding, like you said, the different positions. Sometimes you might play a lot on another team, on one team, and on another team you don't get no playing time. You don't, or you experience like a couple of minutes where you get disgruntled and you start to worry and stuff like that. So I just feel like that coming from that place of understanding, it allows you to have almost like a appreciation for what you've been through. So,
For sure, for
sure.
sure, for sure. And when you said that again, I can see it as well because, like I said, in coaching, um, I think coaching is the best way. Obviously, I'm a parent now, but coaching is the best way to be able to learn patience,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because, like you said, I can see the game. You see the game so clear from the sideline, but the players have to see what the coach is seeing, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times that's not it's not the same. So the player may see one thing, the coach said, and you hear coaches say all the time, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" And I've even tried to adapt now. I'm not perfect in it, but I've tried to adapt now. Instead of saying, "What are you doing?" say, "Hey, what did you see?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
now we can have that understanding. When you tell
Yeah.
me what you see, I can tell you what I saw, and now we can have an understanding as opposed to me saying, "What are you doing?" And everyone can't take that type of coaching.
Exactly.
Obviously we had, our dad was our coach, so it was a different level. We were held to a higher standard of coaching, but now it's a different level. There's different athletes, there's different um mental adverse situations that you have to overcome. And I think with that, as a coach, you have to be understanding in that. And
Yeah.
you kind of talked a little bit about it, but I wanted you to expand and having that patience. Um, how did that apply to you? And we can talk about college in a second, but how did that apply to you making the transition from your JV team to varsity? How did that kind of for you, you know, what was that transition like? Was it an easy process? Was it a difficult process? What was that transition for you going from JV to varsity?
So yeah, so for me, I wasn't blessed enough to play varsity my freshman year. So I respect that for sure. But I played varsity my sophomore year. So, but that transition, it's different. It's definitely not easy. It's definitely difficult. Going first, the speed of the game is two totally different things. You go from JV where you kind of like dominate and control, and you already know where you can get your shots, where how whatever all the antics are and all that stuff. But varsity, you're playing against junior, sophomores, juniors, seniors who have played 2, 3, 4 years, and they played high competition, and it's just the speed of the game is different. Understanding that everything is not going to go your way. You're not going to get as much playing time, but to that point, have it with the playing time you do receive. I feel like you should make sure that you focus on every little detail and to give as much as you can on having that time. Because once you play that 4 minutes, say you do good in that 4 minutes, oh, now you got 6 minutes. And then as you continue to grow, as you continue to learn, that's when you continue to grow in that position. But that transition was definitely not an easy one. But I looking back on it, I enjoyed that process because now as a man, I know, okay, when I go in situations now for school, like it's not nothing that is new to me. Like it's been already been exposed. I've already seen it. I've already have to deal with it. I went through, conversations with, you, dad, all my mentors who have helped me through my basketball career. And now I just feel like having that knowledge, it always I guess you could say, comes to light when you continue to focus and put in that work. So it's definitely not an easy transition, but if you embrace the transition, you'll definitely love the process for sure.
Ooh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good. You embrace the process.
yeah,
It's embedded. It's embedded in you now. So no, that's good. You know, a lot of things we could probably stick on that, but I'm gonna kind of move forward a little bit. But I'm sure we could talk about that for days and days.
yes,
But one of the scriptures I wanted to raise, you know, we're talking about being resilient, you know, persevering, having patience, having that chip, you know, taking things personal. And in Galatians 6 and 9, it says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up."
mm,
And I just think that's the definition of everything we just talked about,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Going from JV, like you said, you're playing against eighth graders, ninth graders, maybe some late blossom 10th
mm,
graders,
mm,
and then now going to varsity where hey, you might play against some dudes who are 18 getting ready to go to college the next year. So the speed is different, the strength is different. Everything is different. The coaching is different. You know, you're running more intricate plays, and
yeah,
you may have go from 5 plays to 15 plays.
mm,
You
mm,
may have different out of bounds. You have different coverages. There's a lot of different things. So not growing weary and doing well. Pop says this all the time. You know, getting full off of breadcrumbs.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So you got these little bit of breadcrumbs now. Okay, yeah, 4 minutes here, and then now
yeah,
I get six. Now I get 8 minutes. Now I'm starting to play the whole game. You know, now I'm actually tired when
mm,
I play the game.
mm,
So just not growing weary and doing well. And I think that's such a great lesson to learn for life,
mm,
right? We're talking about sports, but you can apply that lesson to life where, hey, things aren't necessarily going my way, things aren't necessarily where I want them to be right now, but I know if I keep on putting the time in, if I don't grow weary and doing well in that due season, you know, I'm going to be able to reap a harvest. I'm going to be able to reap and have the results that I want. So I definitely think that's great. The earlier we can learn that lesson, I just think it's great. Whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter. The earlier you learn that, hey, I need to earn
mm,
what I want to receive.
yeah.
And the earlier we learn that, the better that it'll all turn out for us.
Yes, sir. And I want to add to that. So, like you said, in the verse Galatians chapter 6 verse 9. It's Galatians or Galatians? Galatians. Galatians.
I mean, it's tomato, tomato.
Yeah, tomato, tomato, tomato. All right, I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna add to that. So, in that first before the comma, it says, "Let us not grow weary." So when you look up the word weary is saying feeling
Mhm.
or showing tiredness, especially as a result of excessive exertion or lack of sleep. So, um, and it says grow weary while doing good. So that goes to show, like you said, even though you're putting in the work, you might not be getting the game. You might work out the whole week before the game. The coaches may see you. You may be doing good in practice and might not play the whole game. But that having because of that, that doesn't mean that you should now you know what? I'm not gonna put the work in. I'm gonna just do now instead of working out 5 days a week, I'm gonna just work out two. Or actually, I'm gonna just work out one. I'm gonna skip this workout. Nah, that's why in the word it says, "Do not grow weary while doing good, for in due season." So when we talk about due season, that means your time is coming. And can you help me with that when it comes to talking about in due season, my guy?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. In due season, you know, you was flowing. I was gonna say let you take the wheel, but no, I can definitely. I'm always here to assist.
yeah,
Um, but due season, you know, we talk about Papa talks about this. Our spiritual father, he talks about Kairos time. So
mm-hmm,
there's always a time that something is going to happen. There's always a time. There's a time to build. There's a time to learn. There's a time where you know things are going to go up. Times where things are going to go down. It's understanding the timing of things that are happening. So to your point, you may not be playing a lot, but you must always be ready,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
So I think about times again in that freshman year when I wasn't really playing, I did get a lot of minutes, but then there might be a situation going into halftime where, hey, we need a quick shot, and then I might come in and shoot, and you know, hope prayerfully I make that shot, and then after I make that shot, I might not play anymore for the rest of the game.
yeah,
But the team needed me in that moment, so it's the same thing in life. Just being ready for the moments. Hey, I'm working hard. I'm working hard. I'm working this time, and I might not get in the game the way I want to, but how am I helping the team? And then how do we translate that to life? I might not have the job that I want to have, but I'm still contributing to the team that's around me. So when I'm needed, boom, I can step up and I can be the leader, or boom, I can step up and I can be a help to someone. So that's really what it's talking about in due season. We hear sayings all the time. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
if you stay in the gym, if you continue to work on your game, if you stay, whether you're on the job, if you continue to improve in your job and you continue to add knowledge and add all these different value points, now when you're called upon, they're like, oh man, hey, Clint is on the
hmm
money. Clint is doing X, Y, Z, da, 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 da. He has all these different things that he's doing. I didn't realize how much value he brings. We got to put him up here now.
yeah,
He's had that due season. So that's what it's all about. Not getting so caught up in our current circumstance, but realizing that we're working for a higher prize, and that doesn't happen overnight. They say Rome wasn't built overnight. Nothing that's worthwhile is an overnight sensation.
yeah,
We, as the world, might see it as an overnight sensation. Like, man, we didn't see you coming, but the
hmm
work started way
yeah,
back when. The work started, back at Granny's house.
yeah,
It was
yeah.